Hello, and welcome to our overview of the Level 2 Coaching and Teaching Practicums for Color Vowel. I'm Karen Taylor of the Color Vowel Chart. We're recording this session for those who could not attend this evening, but I'd like to welcome those in the room and just know that you're on recording, and so if you wish not to appear, you'll have your screen off. If you are here, though, we want your good questions so that you can represent for those who can't make it tonight. Great. Well, we're going to get started with an overview, and we will have time for questions. So let me come over here to, there we go. All right, to our presentation. As I mentioned, this is part of the level 2 journey, which is to say that there is a level 1. So if you're brand new to Color Vowel, it's worth noticing our journey, which starts over here on the left side with our community members. Those are folks who know about us and maybe have purchased a product that has the Color Vowel Approach book in it. Those folks have access to our private Color Vowel community in Facebook, and they take part in our free events like Fridays at 5 and our Thursday night pure English practice class. So that's our first level of, folks getting to know us. From there, teachers often inquire about training with us because the Color Vowel approach is one that takes time to really, let's say, to absorb and then to mix or to integrate with what you already do. Level 1 training consists of either the FAST program, which is a shortened version that's a partial requirement of our level 1 certificate. Or they continue with the live training sessions and the technique practicum that you see mentioned here. And that leads to the level 1 certificate. And that is a highly recommended foundation for any teacher who wants to use the Color Vowel chart. We just know that we've built a lot into it, and it's not all evident because it's built to not be evident at first. It's built in a way that is time release. It invites noticing, and that goes for the teacher as well. So training will help you know what you're about to notice, and we try to build that into the course structure itself. Okay. After level 1, though, and some teaching, you might be interested in level 2, as our participants here are today. And level 2 is a level where you really get to dig deeper into the implications that the Color Vowel approach has for your teaching. We require 6 workshops along the way. These are 3 core workshops. So if you've taken Color Vowel Yoga, if you've taken spelling exploration, if you've taken rhythm and chants, those are the 3 cores. And then 3 elective workshops. And there are a variety of those that we'll look at in a moment. Okay. The coaching practicum is a second piece to this that can happen about midway through your journey. And then that's finished off with our capstone teaching practicum. And that's what we'll be looking at this evening. Okay. After level 2, I'll just round it out by mentioning that there is a level 3 for those who plan to become trainers themselves, who are trainers maybe, and want to add Color Vowel to their training repertoire, or who are representing their schools in the journey toward accreditation and wish to do in-house training. So level 3 is for those kinds of folks. Okay. So moving along, let's get into the level 2 coaching practicum. This can happen about halfway through your journey. I apologize for all the text. I think now looking at it, it looks pretty busy, but let me just boil this down for a moment. By this point, you've taken the 3 core workshops, those that I just mentioned, okay? And at least 1 elective, just to kind of put say the next foot forward on the journey. At about that time, that's when you can participate in the coaching practicum. And this is just a bit more information about those electives and those cores. Okay. If you're not sure what you've done, it's a very good idea now to go to our website under training and to look at your Color Vowel journey if you don't already have it. It looks something like this. It's an interactive PDF, and you can check off the boxes for the items that you've completed. And so again, you will have by this point completed the 3 components of our complete training, the 3 basic core workshops of level 2, and 3 electives, actually just 1 as a minimum. Okay. The activities of the coaching practicum are essentially 3. We are teaching, and here I'll stop share for a minute. I'm going to kind of set the stage here. that for the coaching practicum, we provide you with real learners, of course, because you can't just coach in isolation. So we run a course that's a 5-week course called Speak Confidently. This is a pronunciation course that is targeted toward advanced learners, many of whom themselves are English language teachers. So these are non-native English speaking teachers of English, as well as advanced learners. And our next run of this course already has several students in it. So we're really excited about it and looking forward to finding out who our coaches are going to be. That 5 weeks is punctuated by a 6th week that happens on the front end, where the coaches come together with me. I'm the instructor for the course, and with Jennifer, who's one of the mentors for the coaches. So we all come together, we kind of see what the course is going to be. We run it for 5 weeks. Okay. Now imagine that each of those 5 weeks of instruction has an hour and a half of instruction, followed by a half-hour debriefing. And so you are in the course as a participant observer, and we'll talk more about what that really means. But participating and observing at the same time kind of gets at it. And participating in a way that too, you might go off into a breakout room when I assign you, and you might work with the student on a particular question and give them a little bit of feedback, but very structured breakouts, nothing that'll be popped on you at the last minute. It's all kind of in advance. And then at the end of the session for that evening or that day, we have that debrief. That's a half hour where we really get to talk about what happened during the session, the kinds of things that the students said, how I or you or all of us gave feedback on that item. When was it appropriate to turn to the chart? When was it appropriate to give examples, so forth. Okay, so it's
Karen,
really that momentary debrief. Yes, Jennifer.
If I can mention, so just to clarify, the learners aren't there for that half hour. They're only there for the first hour and a half. And also that half hour debriefing is also a look forward at the coming week, where we make sure that the participants in the coaching practicum understand the assignments that the learners have for the coming week, and anticipate maybe what needs to happen in giving feedback on those assignments.
So this is where it's going to be helpful to take a look back at that screen for a moment to see where things happen, because I know that our participants in the room right now are both new to the coaching practicum. So we'll focus on that a bit. Okay, here, what you can see is we've got participating in those sessions during the 5-week workshop, Speak Confidently. That occurs in Zoom. So that's right here. Okay. There, you basically get to gain experience leading these activities, maybe one per session, just a short 10 minutes off in a breakout room. You really get to see at least my interpretation of the color vowel approach with learners in the moment. So that idea of prioritization, what is it we've decided to give feedback on? And basically I come to the debriefing try to be completely open, for someone to say, well, Karen, why did you choose to say that? Or why did you pivot in this way? And I don't always have the answers, but we have a really good dialogue about my thought process in the moment of teaching. Okay. So those are pretty valuable. We then put you in another Canvas space that's separate from the course, where you plan your prioritized feedback on the students' speaking assignments. So in other words, they're posting in their own Canvas shell. You watch their posts, but then you come over to our coaching practicum shell. And that's where you mock up your feedback and sort of plan it out and say, I heard 6 things that were kind of off, but I'm going to focus on these 2 because they were deal breakers that really broke my understanding at that moment, and so forth. So it kind of provides a dialogue for that prioritization. We have a dialogue back and forth, and then you go back over and give them that feedback once we've had a chance to discuss it. So there's a lot happening in a typical week of coaching practicum, because you're basically shuttling back and forth between interacting with the learner and interacting with each other and the coaching mentor. Okay. And then that's the third piece, is that shuttling back and forth and talking with us. Okay, so it's kind of student side and coaching side. If you like graphics to understand this relationship, this is that graphic. Okay, I call it the hamburger of teaching goodness. No, it's kind of like a really good sandwich where you are the coach right here. Up here is Jennifer, and I will be here too, being your coach mentors. I'm teaching the course itself, so you don't have to worry about, what's the lesson plan or what am I going to do, because I get to worry about that. And it's a fun course. We keep it pretty live. And then here are the students. And these are, again, adult students. Many of them are teachers of English or advanced learners of English. And in one case, it was a teacher, but not a teacher of English. So, we get all kinds of folks who really do want to work on their fluency, their confidence, their comprehensibility. Okay. Any questions so far?
I have two people that would love to take this class. One is an ESL teacher and one is my friend Gloria. I think they would love this.
Wonderful. Well, we have a link for them and we'll be putting it over there.
Is it, are you looking for students like now or?
We are. Yeah.
Mhm.
Our next course.
I'll get that link, Karen.
Great. I mean, for that matter, it is on our training page. So it's just right here. If you scroll down, it'll be right. Where is it? This one right here. It's the purple one for learners. Speak confidently. So it starts on November 2nd.
How cool.
Okay.
And is it free for them?
No, it is not. So this does cost. It helps us cover all kinds of things that we need to cover in terms of operating. But we do keep it very affordable. So this is a course that for 5 weeks of instruction, hour and a half each session, it is $99 if you bring a friend and $110 if you register alone.
Okay.
Okay, so it's cheaper than lunch out per session, easily.
If you're in Washington, D.C.
If you're in Washington, D.C.
I paid $3 for
you can find your other price points as you desire.
But
All right.
No, that's great because most of the teachers, we had a meeting today at Job Corps, and I mean, it's done bilingual. So that you're in a very much, there will be a lot of potential students here.
And it is, it's perfect. I mentioned other teachers. These students ideally are, just because we do some sort of meta-cognitive or meta-teaching kind of discussion sometimes, this is very open to content teachers who teach in English. So for example, we had a Japanese woman who teaches, she teaches CPR classes in English in other countries, not Japan. So, I was like, wow, but she wanted to sound, more confident and more fluent. So basically anybody who needs to use English, who's of the more advanced variety. So not still learning vocabulary, not still learning maybe some vocabulary, but not a lower level student.
These would all be people that are in the classroom and already, but are Spanish speakers that could probably, and I think, like, for example, Alma Contreras, I gave her a set of cards yesterday. I had so much fun. She let me teach, and I gave her my chart, and I gave her all sorts of stuff, kind of getting her into it. So I'm trying to sell.
Wonderful. Well, we are, okay. So I wanted to show you just a quick example, and then we can have any other questions about Coaching Practicum. So here's a little share. This is actually from a class that happened our last time around. So this is actually from this course that we teach. It used to be called Pronunciation for English Teachers, or called the PET course. So if you ever hear us refer to PET out of habit, it's referring to the same course, which is a course for non-native English speakers. So this is just a short clip that gives you some idea of the interaction. These two are the coaches. Okay, so you may know Laura, you may know Susan, and the others are students in this role, right? Whereas Gilson is a teacher and Nancy's a teacher, and actually so is Kaori. And then our gal down here is not a teacher, so we have a real mixture in here, but we're all learning together. So this is just a short clip to kind of activate your imagination. Cody, you're 4. Susan, you're 5. Andrea,
let's see
you're
if we get
6.
over here for a second.
And Laura, you're 7. Okay, Nancy, I'm going to call or low in their pitch. In other words, become quite.
There we go.
Focusing on Olive, sock, crossed. Olive, sock, crossed. Andrea, let me hear you do that. It says, I'll never forget the day we crossed the border. Try that. 2, ready, go.
I'll never forget the day we crossed the border.
Good. I'm hearing rose in crossed. So I hear crossed,
Oh.
and watch. Oh.
Cross.
Yes.
Cross the border.
Cross the border.
Border.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
Right? Because your eyes are looking at those 2 O's, but they're not the same sound.
Okay.
That is the part that is a little bit surprising, right? So we have, so let's everybody try or,
Or.
or. Good. I crossed the border.
I crossed the border.
Border. Yeah. So orange, they're really quite different, aren't they? All right. So that's just a small clip of, this was actually a small review of a lesson that they had put together, or an activity, I should say, that they had participated in, where they verbally generated all of these memories about what they would never forget. And so these were just one memory from each of the 4 students, but they had a bunch of them. And so we just decided to drill in a little bit afterward as a just a little bit more as a follow-up. Okay, so this is one that had started entirely orally and then became a written review on specific sounds. Okay, so that's just a little view of the dates of the coaching practicum, as we've just referred to. It starts a week earlier than the course itself. So the coaching practicum orientation is on October 26th at 8 p.m. And then the following week, we start with Speak Confidently as the course. Okay. And then the next time around that we're doing it is in February, with a February-March course following.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. The 26th is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, so it's going to be at 6 o'clock my time.
That's right.
I'm in Mountain Time.
That's right.
All right,
Oh, you're in
6.
Mountain. Yeah. 6 o'clock your time. And so this is that pre-week orientation. That's just the coaches and us. And then
Okay.
these are the 5 weeks of the actual course, where it runs from 8 to 9:30 with instruction, and 9:30 to 10 is that little debrief.
Okay. All right. Now, the question is do they have to know anything about color vowel, or can they walk in cold?
Oh, the students don't have to know anything about color vowel.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. It's just right there for them.
I think, I don't know if Gloria, I think I can get to them. I know, I'm pretty sure I can get.
Good.
So the orientation.
But I don't want to hurt their feeling, like, you need this. No.
Well, it's just
the orientation meeting is really important, and we'll go through sort of what the each week cycle will be, and we'll show you both of the Canvas courses and make sure that you understand what is important. And then, as Karen says, then the coaching practicum itself is the last half hour every Tuesday. So that'll.
I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't have the requirements yet.
Okay.
So I'm
well,
gonna
when
be
it comes
fine.
around.
When it
Which
comes
will
around.
hopefully be
Yeah.
in February.
So just know that
That's
regardless
so
of when you
cool.
do it, the key is to
I'm
know
trying to do it now.
it's different than any of the level 2 workshops that you've done, in the sense that it's much more intense. It's intense for all of us, because during the week, we put some pressure on the students to post their tasks. And then you watch that task and you propose the feedback to us. We then discuss and give you feedback on your feedback, and then you go and post it. Then you go to class again. So it's, and the students are getting their feedback pretty much right before the next class, because we're doing all that work together on the back end. Okay. but we've found this model is very engaging, and the coaches that have gone through this, including those that you just saw, have had very positive feedback on the experience, because how often do you get to really watch a whole course being taught and then talk about it? So it's, yeah.
Could I watch it? Could I come and observe or not?
There is an audit option.
Could I?
Audit
Oh, yeah.
option is, for those who'd like to see it before they actually take it and do it themselves. So you'll attend the courses, you can sit in on the discussions, but you don't actually get into the Coaching Practicum Canvas course. So you just, sort of observe.
We're just there. You're there for Zoom.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And but it's also for, like, one of the participants from last time, she said, I think I really want to do it again. And so she was doing a lot of observing, and I think, she just wants to have a little bit more time or she was busy all the time, and now she just wants to sit back and sort of watch it holistically. So,
yeah.
Okay. Because it would be, I will pay you to audit it, because I would love to. What I'm seeing are some really good things that I can take into the classroom now.
exactly. Yeah.
And
it's $50 to audit.
Yeah.
That's worth it. That's worth it, because I will tell you, yesterday when I brought in the color Vowel system, I did not have the chart. All I had was the organizers and the cards. And I kept them busy for almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Playing color it out.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to shift over now to talking about the second. There are two practica. There's the Coaching Practicum that we've just talked about and looked at. And there's the Teaching Practicum, which is this one. Okay. The level 2 Teaching Practicum is what we call the capstone experience for level 1 trained teachers who want to become certified. So it's all of the previous experiences, including the level 1 cert, all 3 of those core workshops, at least 3 elective workshops, and that Coaching Practicum is now under your belt. So when all of this is now part of your journey, you've done it, you're ready for the Teaching Practicum when you decide. It's about an 8 to 10 week event. It takes time, and it takes, consistent attention to the lesson that you'll be planning, the video that you'll be recording, the analysis you'll be doing of your own teaching, and the dialogue with your practicum coach and your committee. Okay. The requirements, therefore, involve that you're currently teaching online or in person in order to participate. And that's because you have to be able to video record them. If you're face-to-face, we're going to have a dialogue about how to do that well. I'm going to give you an example of the kind of at least video quality that we're looking for. So you're going to need to be able to get permission from your students and or your institution, if you work for one, to provide us with video recorded lessons that really show not just you, but your students' responses, and that have a high quality of video and audio. So start thinking about that. It's getting easier and easier to do that because of online teaching and the power of Zoom. The activities of the Teaching Practicum involve basically 4 steps. Working with a practicum advisor to write, plan, and revise a lesson plan. And that lesson plan is kind of a showcase of the learning strategies and techniques and corrective feedback that you've been learning all about and putting into practice over time. So it's a bit of a showcase lesson, but it's also intended to be a very natural lesson. It's not the first time you've introduced this to the student. It's most likely going to be a lesson with a student who is already familiar with the chart, so that we have that part out of the way, where they're really working on something genuinely important to them. And Color Vowel is there woven into the fabric of the lesson to support the student's success. Merely that. So it's not a demonstration of the Color Vowel approach, but rather authentic teaching. Okay. You'll then teach and video record your lesson. So this happens about 4 to 6 weeks into the journey of this particular piece. So this is the planning piece for the first month. teaching. You'll want to plan when that, that can really happen. Then completing a structured reflection and analysis of your lesson. And we provide a rubric for that and a way for you to identify specific places in your lesson that address the parts of the rubric, like a place where learners use the open hand really effectively and spontaneously, or a moment where the learner is the one generating a brand new question because they have a language to talk about sound, something like that. So we have a whole list of menu of items that you can look for in your own teaching. Okay. And then you'll receive constructive feedback from your mentor and the practicum committee, which is basically me and Jennifer and my co-author Shirley. So we're thrilled to be a team of 3. And Shirley is a master. She's a master at mentoring. We're glad to have her. Okay. The standards that we're speaking of, we aim to provide a rigorous course based on specific standards that are best practices in general, like reducing teacher talk and increasing student talk, but also that are specific to color vowel, like reducing the amount of input so that learners can focus on what is important at that moment. Okay. The level 2 teaching practicum enrollment does not guarantee a level 2 certificate. As we know from any kind of assessment, if it's an automatic pass, then it can't really have criteria that are standards. It's just a gate that's open. So we do aim to support you in attaining these qualities that come into play when you're a color vowel teacher at that level. Okay. Candidates determined to be in need of additional time or training will receive detailed referral from us, and then you can re-register as needed. It's more of a contingency, but we just want to make that clear from the beginning that that we plan to keep this of a high, a high bar, which is good for everybody. That way you can have a lot of pride when you have that level 2 practicum badge and know what you've done. Okay. Another picture, because it's nice to have one. The roles and the steps. You are purple. You are the purple. So the lesson planning, the teaching video that's recorded, your students are part of that, the reflection. Okay. And your mentor's there all along, and you come and speak with the committee, and we have a nice dialogue about, with questions, I suppose, about what we see in the lesson, what you see as the strengths, questions we have for you, and just a way to really get the most out of that experience. Okay. Any questions? Okay.
Is it just one lesson, or is it a set of lessons, Karen?
Yeah, so it's funny. We've done this, and we say lesson plan, but a lot of times, as you know, you'll plan a lesson and you don't finish it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we're kind of we're based on
why I
that.
never turned in lesson plans for like the entire time I was teaching at public schools, because it never worked.
Right. So, for example, our most recent level 2 candidate planned a lesson and then ended up delivering parts of it over 3 sessions. And so then she uploaded those 3 sessions to YouTube, a private channel for us, or an unlisted channel for us. And by the way, these are unedited videos, so you don't have to, nor should you, do anything about editing. And that's both a relief and it's desired for us because we want to watch the whole context of the lesson. Okay. So it's super easy. You upload that. You use a timing guide to say, hey, look at this moment, look at this other moment, and so forth. So it could be one lesson, but allowing yourself a couple sessions does sort of take the pressure off of making it the one fabulous, it's the perfect lesson. We all know that we'd much rather aim for an authentic interaction between you and your students, where we can see that you have truly integrated this, that it's a language in place for you and your students. Okay. Any other questions?
Can I just add to that?
Please do.
So, our goal is that you would plan a lesson, you would teach that lesson. But then, if, like Karen says, if you have overflow, or if in the, subsequent lesson, there were some really golden moments, maybe that even came out of what you did the previous, lesson, which was planned, and you want us to see those, you can add those in too. But, you shouldn't feel like you have to, videotape yourself for a whole week. If you have a really solid lesson and you deliver it in a really solid way and you feel pretty good about it, that's all we really need to see. So we don't want you to feel like you have to give us, and we don't really have the time to go through, 30 hours of video. So, and if you're teaching in 3-hour blocks, we really only need you to plan out 1 hour, but then film that whole class, and but we'll focus mostly on what was planned in the feedback.
Yeah. All right, so that's clear as mud now, right? Because we just told you, yes, it's a lesson, but it could be 2, but not 3, but not. And it's true, we're very flexible about it because the context can vary so much across teachers, frankly.
Right.
So we'll work very closely with you. You might be teaching a group, you might be teaching an individual. And in some cases, if you're not teaching anybody right now and it's a new person, we'll want you to establish already a teaching relationship with them so that they're already somewhat at least onboarded to Color Vowel. It shouldn't be their first class or their second class with it. It should be something that they definitely grasp, so that's not the teaching point. Ideally, it's more to do with language and context that are important to them for their future, rather than Color Vowel for the sake of Color Vowel. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I thought we could round things up. I have this fabulous little clip that I'm showing courtesy of Gabby Academy, which is it's our partner school who's on the road to accreditation, Color Vowel accreditation. They're based in Canada and they teach students who are in Japan. And so what you're about to see is a clip from one of these classes. And this is one of our, Color Vowel teacher, who's Suzanne Nix, who is in level 2 right now. What I love about this clip, there's a lot that I love about it, but among those qualities is that it's a very high quality audio and video. You're going to see some responsive teaching where it's not just the teacher talking. Engaged learner participation, where you're going to see them actually doing you can tell they're doing new things. Examples of some Color Vowel strategies. Not that she does all of these in the clip I'm going to show you, but that's what we'll be looking for, are these particular strategies in place. So this is kind of a good glimpse of that. Just the fact she has the chart right behind her is a very good start, because she's able to make reference to it. So let's just watch a couple seconds here of that, mostly just because it's so much fun to see somebody teach. Okay, and so here you go.
Kara, were you going to turn off the recording?
Oh, I was. Thank you. I am. So I'm pausing this recording because we want to wait till we have full permission, but this is just to whet the appetite. So if you're not here, I pardon the gap. Here we go. All right. So teaching practicum dates that are coming up are from October to December of this year. And then again, next spring, late spring, April to June. And, that happens about 3 times a year because it does take time for folks to make it to that point. Okay. So that's the main content of our presentation for this evening regarding the level 2 practicum. I'll mention that if you're listening and you haven't started your level 1 journey, this is a good time to consider that. And you can go to our website at colorvowel.com/training to see all of our workshops, but specifically colorvowel.com/get-started is a great place to go to register for new courses. So that's for the level 1 journey. So I'll go ahead and I'll say thank you for coming. For those who are watching the recording, we'll take some questions afterward, but we look forward to seeing you at Color Vowel. Thank you so much.